Okay, so hello everyone. So today's lesson is going to be about the conditional type 2. Okay, so let's get started. So here in this picture, as you can see that here we have a person. Okay, this is Jack. Okay, so Jack wants to buy a house. Okay, this house. So he wants to buy a house, but he doesn't have any money. Okay, so Jack wants to buy a house, but he doesn't have money. Okay, so Jack keeps telling himself this sentence. So he says that if I had money, I would buy a house. Okay, so if I had money, I would buy a house. But the question is, does Jack have money? No. Does he have a house? No. So what is he talking about here? He is talking about an imaginary situation. Okay? Is it something that is possible? No, it is not possible. Why? Because he doesn't have money, okay? And he doesn't have a house. Okay? So he wants to have money in order to buy a house. Right? So here, let me ask you this question. Are we talking about something here that is in the present or in the past or in the future? Yes, so here we're talking about the present, right? Because we have Jack wants to buy a house now, okay? But he doesn't have any money now. So if he had money now, he would buy a house. But he doesn't have money. So here we are talking about imaginary situation. Another example, so here we have, this is Sarah, okay? So Sarah can't see, okay? Why can't see? Because what? Because she doesn't wear glasses, okay? So she can't see because she doesn't wear glasses. So what about, for example, if she wore her glasses? What? Yes, so if she wore her glasses, she could see. But is she wearing glasses? No. Can't she or can she see? No, she can't see. Why? Because she doesn't wear her glasses. But if she wore her glasses, she could see. So again, here we are talking about imaginary situation. Is it possible? No, it is impossible situation. What? In the present. We are talking about something that is imaginary. It means it is something just in our imagination. Okay, why? Because she doesn't have her glasses now, so therefore she cannot see. Okay, another example is that this is Susan. Okay, so Susan wants to call or wants to phone her friend. Okay, she wants to phone her friend right now. I'm talking about the present. But she can't. Why? Because she doesn't have his number. So Susan wants to call this person, but she doesn't have his number. Okay, so is it possible right now that she calls this person? No. Why? Because she doesn't have his number. So then Susan says that if I had his number, I would phone him. But does she does she have his number? No, she doesn't have his number. So is it possible? No, so it is impossible. So it is just imaginary situation. Okay, so it is just imaginary situation. Okay, so if I had his number, but does she have his number? No, she doesn't have his number. Okay, so here we are talking about unreal situation in the present. Now look here at this sentence. If I had his number, I would phone him. Okay, so as you can see here, the structure is if. So please, always when we have if, this is what? This is a conditional. But please, when we talk about conditional, we have types. Okay, and please, this is condition type 2. How do we know that it is type 2? Because we have if plus what? Plus subject plus had. It is simple past, very good, simple past. His number, then we have comma, then we have a subject again, plus would, plus phone is the infinitive. So phone, it is in the present, so we don't change the verb. So why do we use this type of conditional? So we use it to talk about imaginary situation. When? Is it in the past or present or future? Good, it is in the present, because look here, Susan wants to phone Paul now, right now, present. But she can't because she doesn't have his number. So if she, or if Susan had his number, she would phone him, but she doesn't have his number. So here we are talking about impossible situations in the present. It's like here also, it's like making a wish. Okay, you know what is a wish? Yeah, good. It's like making also a wish. So now let's move to the form. So what is the form of condition type 2? So please look at the sentence. We have if I had wings, then we have I would fly. Okay, so wings, please, this is wings. Okay, what do we mean by wings? This is a wing. Okay, and fly, the verb to fly, yeah, this is the verb to fly. So look here, if I had wings, I would fly. Now, is it possible that I have wings? Is it possible? No. Is it possible that I fly? No, it's impossible. It's impossible. Why? Because I don't have wings. Okay, so I can't fly. So here we are talking about imaginary situation. So let's talk about the form. So what is the form if I had wings? What is the form? So we have if plus subject. Please, S, it means subject. What do we mean by subject? It means I, he, she, it, we, you, they. Okay, Ahmed or teacher or Fatima, it is a subject. Plus simple past. So remember that had is the simple past of have. Okay. And the second one, for the second one, we have subject plus would or could plus verb. Please, which type of verb? It is verb in the present. It is bare infinitive, base form. It means that we didn't change the form. So it is in the form. The verb is in the present. Okay. So we have subject plus would plus could plus verb. So please, as you can see here, we have two sentences. Okay. We have if I had wings, then we have I would fly. So please, this is what we mean by if clause. Why it is called if clause? Because it starts with if. And this one is called the main clause or the result clause. Because what is the result of if I had wings? The result is I would fly. So it is called the main clause. Please notice that if you start with if, what do we have here? We have what? We have a comma. Please don't forget a comma. If I had wings, comma, I would fly. Okay, don't forget the comma. Okay, this is the first form. Also, we can the same example. If I had wings, I would fly. Can we have a different style or a different form? Can we change the position of the clauses? I'm talking about if clause and the main clause. Yes, of course. So this is a second form. So we can start with I would fly. This one. If I had wings. So in the form number 1, we started with if, but in form number 2, we started with I would. But what is the difference between this form and this form? Yeah, the only difference is the comma. Please remember that if we start with if, we have comma. But if we start with I would, which is the main clause, there is no comma. So please remember, no comma. Here we have yes, comma. So what is the form of this one? So we have subject plus would or could plus verb. Okay. Then the second one is, for this one, it is if plus subject plus simple past. Okay. Again, here we have, this is the main clause and this is the if clause. Okay. So we can have two possibilities. Okay. We can start with if clause or we can start with the main clause. So if you start with if clause, remember comma. Okay, please remember that here we have what we have in the main clause. We can start with would or could plus verb in the present, bare infinitive. Okay, please remember that the negative of could is couldn't and the negative of would is wouldn't. Okay, now let's move to the use. What is the use of condition type 2? When do we use it? Why do we use it? A second conditional is used to talk about imaginary, unreal, okay, imaginary يعني غير حقيقي unreal what situations that are not true. Not true, it means غير صحيح what in the present. Okay, so here we are talking about impossible or unreal present conditional. Impossible or unreal present conditional. Please remember that for condition type 2 it is used to talk about present situation, and the situations are imaginary and are what? Unreal. Okay, imaginary, unreal situations. Okay, good. So in imaginary situations, we must use were, okay, and we don't use was, because as you know that in English we say I was, you were, he, she, it was, we, you, they were. But in conditional type 2, we don't use was, we use were. We say I were, you were, he, she, it were, we, you, they were. Why? Because it is conditional. Okay, type 2. Example, John suffers from toothache now, but he doesn't want to see a doctor. And he is asking me for my advice. So my advice, I would say that if I was you, I would visit a doctor. So are we going to use was? No, we are going to use were. Why were? Because it is condition type 2. So it is if I were, not was. We use were. Okay, if I were, if you were, if he, she, it were, if we, you, they were, then we have you, I would visit a doctor. Okay, good. Now let's move to some major changes. So please, when we talk about conditional type 2, we always try to change a situation. For example, if we have a negative situation, we change it into affirmative situation. And if we have negative situation, we try to change it into affirmative situation. So look at this negative situation. I don't have money, I can't buy a house. So I don't have money, it is negative. I can't buy a house, it is negative. So I want to change it into positive. That's why I make conditional. So if I had money, I would buy a house. But do I have money? No, I don't have money. Can I buy a house? No, I can't buy a house. That's why we want to change this situation. So please remember, I don't have money, negative. If I had money, affirmative. I can't buy a house, negative. I would buy a house, affirmative. So please remember that we change negative to affirmative. Why? Because we want to change the situation. What is the situation here? The situation of not having money. I want to change this situation of not having money. I want to change it into having money. And if I want to apply the form, we say that if I had money, okay, I would buy a car. Also, sometimes we can have, we change affirmative situation, negative situation. For example, I like sweets. This is affirmative. I always have them in my pocket. And I want to change it into negative. So if I didn't like sweets, I wouldn't have them in my pocket. But do I like sweets? Yes, I do. Okay? Do I always have them in my pocket? Yes, I always. So if I didn't like sweets, please remember, try to follow the form of the condition type 2. I like sweets. If I didn't like sweets, I always have them in my pocket. I wouldn't have them in my pocket. Because here we are talking about, because we want to change the situation of having, of liking sweets into something that's negative if I didn't like sweets. So please, if we have negative, we change it into affirmative. And if we have affirmative, we change it into negative. Because we make a conditional because we talk about imaginary situation. We have a situation and we want to change it. Okay? For example, I am poor. I want to change it. So if I weren't poor. So I am poor, affirmative. If I weren't poor, it is negative. Okay? So now let's move to some matching, so some exercises. So we have if clause, so try to do a matching. So first of all, we have if I knew or if I knew where she lives. If we had enough money, if Mary had a car, if I were you, then we have she would not go by bus. I would visit a doctor. I would send her a letter. And we have we would buy a big house. Okay, so try to do a matching. Okay. So let's start. If I know where she lives, yes, I would send her a letter. Number 2, if we had enough money, yeah, the answer is yes, we would buy a big house. Number 3, if Mary had a car, yeah, she would not go by bus. Please remember that in the main clause we also can use the negative of would. So the negative of would is would not or wouldn't. And the negative of could is could not or couldn't. Good. So if Mary had a car, she wouldn't go by bus. If I were you, what? I would visit a doctor. Okay, so if I were you, I would visit a doctor. Okay, another example. Okay, so this is another exercise. So we need to have, okay, so we have gap filling activity. So we need to try to use the condition type 2. So we help you if we, then we have the power. So we would help. Please remember this is the main clause. Okay, so we would help you if we, what? Had the power. Very good. So if plus subject plus simple past. In the main clause, what do we have? We have subject plus would plus the base form of the bare infinitive. So please remember that this is the original verb, okay, or the base form or bare infinitive have. In the passive have is had. Next one, if he, good, more time, he would learn karate, okay. Number 3, if they, very good, told. The past of tell is told. If they told their father the truth, he wouldn't be. Please remember that be is the base form. So he wouldn't be very angry. So please remember we use here negative form. So he wouldn't be very angry. Number 4, she, very good, would spend a year in the US if it were easier to get a green card. Okay, if it were. So please remember that be, the past of be is were. Number 5, we would help you if we, good, knew how. So the past of know is knew. So my brother would buy a sports car if he had money. Okay, if he had money. Okay, but does my brother have money? No, he doesn't have money. Okay, so 7, if you, good, went. So the past of go is went. If you went by bike more often, you, good, wouldn't be so flabby. Okay, you wouldn't be so flabby. 8, so she, good, she wouldn't talk to you if she, what? Very good, were mad at you. If she were mad at you. So were is the simple past of mad. So please remember that here we can start with if, or we can start with the main clause. We can start with the if clause or the main clause. For example, we would help you. So here we started with main clause. But for the second, if he had, this is the if clause. So sometimes we can start with the if clause, or sometimes we start with the main clause. Okay, so this is what we all have for today. Okay, so goodbye and see you in another lesson.